Welcome to the Cloud Pod, where the forecast is always cloudy. We talk weekly about all things AWS, GCP, and Azure. We are your hosts,
Justin,
Jonathan,
Ryan,
and Matthew.
Episode 333, recorded for December 2nd, 2025. The Cloud Pod goes nano banana. Good evening, Ryan and Matt. How are you guys doing?
doing awesome.
Post-Thanksgiving fun.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love post-Thanksgiving fun? I mean, the reInvent's happening underneath us right now, and it's been a crazy week of announcements we'll talk about next week. But then it's been just other craziness of the world. And it's been weird. I don't know. You guys feel like vibes are off in the world since Thanksgiving? I don't know. I don't know if because I had
Definitely
bad things to do this week or what. But the world's just in a weird vibe.
Yeah. No, I concur. It's there's the holiday rush, right? And then there's just the wrapping up everything by the end of the year, kind of press, and then there's just kind of this general malaise. It seems.
I just feel like everyone's blah right now in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe Mercury's on retrograde. I don't know.
Yeah. Stupid rocks floating in space. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just been weird. I mean, I came back from the Thanksgiving and I'm just had hard to get into gear. Just not motivated this week. I know it's been a tough one. But I've been sort of enjoying wanting to watch all the reinvent stuff. I have yet to watch a single keynote. So yeah, I'm only behind by a few days.
Yeah.
So hopefully
I'm in the same place you are in.
So I've got homework to do before we record next week. So thank God we didn't decide let's just push the recording out to Friday of the week of reInvent. We've done it every year before, and we're always miserable because we're
it's always a disaster.
Because we don't have time to research anything and to do anything, and so we're just they announced this thing, and we're like, what does it do? I don't know. So we thought we'll just cover all non-AWS news today. That way we get that off the plate for next week, and then we'll just hit all the Amazon news. And they were at a very busy pre-invent and a very busy reInvent. So there's a lot to cover next week in a single show for them. So it's probably good. And then hopefully after that, everyone will start going on vacation for Christmas. Because
of course, now you're telling everyone in advance we'll have no excuse when we don't do the homework for next show, which will be.
I mean, you don't do the homework anyways, but I'll at least done the homework. So I can carry you on. So it's fine.
It's just a normal week here in the Cloud Pod.
Yeah, I was like,
don't tell anyone.
One of the podcasts, there's a song and at the end of their show, it's like a jingle, and one of the lines is John didn't do any research because Marco and God, what's that guy's name? It's escaping my mind. Whatever. It wouldn't let him. It's funny. Oh well. Anyways, all right. Let's get right into AI is how ML makes money, and because we wanted to use the show title, we had to keep this one in there. There's really not much to say about it. But Google's launching Nano Banana Pro, which is Gemini 3 Pro image editing in general availability on Vertex AI and Google Workspaces, with Gemini Enterprise support coming very soon. Gemini Enterprise support is what they called Agent Space 3 weeks ago, and now it's Enterprise, just to remind everybody. Because branding is hard. The model support up to 14 reference images for style consistency and generates 4K resolution outputs with multilingual text rendering capabilities. And the model includes Google Search grounding for factual accuracy and generated infographics and diagrams, plus built-in SynthID watermarking for transparency. Copyright identification will be available at general availability under Google's shared responsibility framework. Enterprise integrations are live with Adobe Firefly, Photoshop, Canva, and Figma, nailing production-grade creativity workflows. And major retailers, including Klarna, Shopify, and Wayfair, report using the model for product visualization and marketing asset generation at scale. Developers can access Nano Banana Pro through Vertex AI with provisioned throughput and pay-as-you-go pricing options, plus advanced safety filters. So yeah, the biggest thing that's most important about this, you guys, is that when Nano Banana messes up the text, which it doesn't do as often, you can now edit it and actually edit it properly without generating a whole completely different image, because that used to happen to me all the time. It's oh, I love this image, but they screwed up the spelling. I would try, please respell that. And it's no, new image.
And then it's
still
wrong in a
misspelled.
different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been my experience. And I think I've just been using regular Nano Banana, if there's a difference between Pro and non-Pro.
It's the higher resolution, some of the ability to do some of the 4K stuff. It's really the big difference. But yeah, Nano Banana has been out for a few weeks now, or a month maybe. And yeah, it's so much better. I mean, but even ChatGPT image generation has dramatically improved in the last 6 months.
Yeah. I really wish that, and I finally asked Claude enough times to where I got an answer for it. I noticed that in heavy revisions of images over and over and over again, the the fidelity would decrease, and it is, I finally got an answer out of it, which is it is literally doing a copy and making an image from a copy of a copy of a copy when it's doing those edits. So it was kind of an interesting sort of behind the scenes that I got out of the AI model itself.
Was that a video or was that just a blog post?
No, it's just me asking the stupid bot, like, why you suck. And then
I always wondered how that worked too. Like I was like, it was, like earlier today I was telling someone that, his memory is out of a goldfish and he has a very distinctive facial feature. So I was like, I want a goldfish with his facial features. So I just put his photo in with and said, I want a goldfish with these facial features. And I got it. And so then we all laughed and it was funny. And because I troll all my employees. It's what I do. But so that's all good. All right. Moving on from images. Cloud Opus 4.5 is now generally available across Anthropic's API, apps, and all 3 major cloud platforms at $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens, representing a substantial price reduction that makes Opus-level capabilities more accessible. Developers can access it via the Cloud Opus 4-5-2025 1101 model identifier, because that rolls off the tongue. And the model achieves state-of-the-art performance on software engineering benchmarks, scoring higher than any human candidate on Anthropic's internal performance engineering exam within a 2-hour time limit. On SWE Bench Verified, it matches Sonnet 4.5's best score using 76% fewer output tokens at medium effort and exceeds it by 4.3 percentage points at higher effort while still using 48% fewer tokens. Anthropic introduces a new effort parameter in the API that lets developers control the trade-off between speed and capability, allowing optimization for either minimal time and cost or maximum performance depending on the task requirements. And this combines with new context management and memory capabilities to boost performance on agentic tasks by nearly 15% in their testing. Cloud Code gains plan mode that builds user-editable plan MD files before execution and is now available in the desktop app for running multiple parallel sessions. And the consumer app remove message limits for Opus 4.5 through automatic content summarization, and Claude for Chrome and Claude for Excel expand to all Max team and enterprise users. The model demonstrates improved robustness against prompt injection attacks compared to other frontier models, and is described as the most robustly aligned model Anthropic has released to date. Congratulations. I was playing with this, and the way I play with Claude today is I use Bedrock, because I got tired of paying Claude and everyone else for things every day. And so when I tried to use the last Opus, I racked up a $600 bill in one day. And when I tried to do it yesterday and then I forgot about it, and 3 days later, I was like, oh no, I forgot about it. I put it on Opus mode. I went into the bill and it was only $75. So either I'm coding less, which is not true, or it is actually cheaper. So congratulations on that. It's actually the most important part of the whole announcement is the cheaper context, input and output tokens. I do sort of find it interesting though that, you pay for both the input and the output, but I only control the input. I don't control the output. So Claude can just
But all the models are like that.
Yeah, I know it is, but it's always kind of for me. Like I have this indeterminate thing in the middle. It's going to output something that I can't predict or know what it's going to be, and you get to pay for that. So it's just sort of funny.
Now I do budgeting for my day job. How much is it going to output? We don't know. How much is it going to charge you? We don't know. Your CFO really loves you when you tell them that.
I mean, at least at a larger scale, you can sort of do trending and bucket, but it is, I know just from trying to manage my own, API balance or token balance, impossible. And it's just like, I feel I'm constantly just doling it out like $20 at a time, just because I'm so afraid I'm going to just rack up a $600 bill.
Well, and that's why I was doing that too. And I was like, every day I'm getting like 4 $20 transactions on my credit card. It was silly. But but then you do need to set up billing alerts if you're going to do it in the cloud.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely was. So I'm definitely pleased that it's significantly cheaper to use, but
it feels a lot more efficient.
It's still not as cheap as Sonnet 4.5, or sorry, Opus. Sonnet. Opus is still a little bit more expensive than that, but I wish they would get a nice model router so I could just route between them, and it would make the decision which one's better for this coding question I have.
Like with the Anthropic API.
Yeah, I wish Cloud Code would just kind of choose based on what it knows. Like, oh, I should use this one or I should use that one based on the complexity of this code I'm trying to analyze. So, well, guess what, guys?
What's that?
What?
Because there's now Claude, Snowflake also has Claude. So if you want to use Claude Opus 4.5 or Claude Sonnet 4.5 and general availability on Snowflake Cortex AI. It is available to you today. So you're welcome.
So now I know what we're going to do for the rest of the show for every cloud provider.
It's better than the blowhorn. Just say it.
It is much better.
I did figure out how to turn the down. So now next time we do the blowhorn, I probably can do it without blowing out all of our listeners and your ears. So I was like, oh, there's a slider. Who knew?
No.
I should probably pay more
I
attention.
think you've known for a while. You've just decided not to.
I don't know.
I think he's also learned that he could probably turn it up on us now too. So be warned.
do it either way, So OpenAI apparently is declaring code red as Gemini has gained 200 million users in 3 months. This came from Sam Altman, who's issued an internal code red memo to refocus the company on improving ChatGPT after Google's Gemini 3 model topped the LMA Arena leaderboard and gained 200 million users in 3 months. The directive delays planned features, including advertising integration, AI agents for health and shopping, and the Pulse personal assistant feature. Google's Gemini 3 models released in mid-November has outperformed ChatGPT on industry benchmarks tests and attracted high-profile users like Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff, who publicly announced switching from ChatGPT after 3 years. The model's performance represents a significant shift in the competitive landscape since OpenAI's initial ChatGPT launch in December 2022. And the situation mirrors December 2022 when Google declared its own code red after ChatGPT's rapid adoption. The CEO Sundar Pichai reassigning teams to develop the competing AI product that is now Gemini. OpenAI is implementing a daily call for teams responsible for ChatGPT improvements and encouraging temporary team transfers to address the competitive pressure. And the company responses indicate they're maintaining market leadership is in conversational AI requires continuous iteration, even for established product with large user bases. I mean, I've sort of felt like this has been the case the last years, that OpenAI has sort of been losing its luster. I mean, at least for me, I've been on Claude now for over a year, and I just love it. And like, there's so many great features in Claude that I love now. Like, the fact that it can now look at all of our chat history and it can now it can replicate how I write, which is super helpful. So it doesn't sound like Gemini, which writes still very AI-esque wording on everything it generates. And OpenAI has definitely some things I still use and I still enjoy as well. This is I now pay for all 3 of them because why not? It's a tax write-off. I do compare them quite often all the time, and I always typically either go. Even in my coding stuff, it's either Gemini because of the big context window when something's really sticky, or it's Claude and it's not OpenAI. But I do use OpenAI more for image generation than I use Gemini. And Claude, if it had image generation, would be insane, I'm sure. And it just doesn't have it because they don't care about that, which is fine. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I find myself like I tried, I started on ChatGPT and tried to use it after adopting Claude, and then I try to go back every once in a while, especially when they release a new model, and I end up going back to one of the Anthropic models. So it's sort of like I can see why they're sort of declaring this code red, because I do think that they're struggling a little bit, and the model providers are sort of making up significant ground. I wonder how much of this is just going to be sort of like a hot potato where all of them are sort of doing this, back and forth over the years. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like originally I used ChatGPT. I pretty much de facto, I start anything I'm doing with Claude. Every now and then I'll pop over to Copilot at my day job because that's our primary tool. And then I'm like, this isn't quite where I want to go. Though it does work a little bit better with, scripting against Azure, weirdly. So they clearly added a little bit of special sauce in there.
All right, well, let's move on to AWS. Oh, wait, no AWS. Next week, everybody. But there's lots of cool things happening there. Lots of AI models, lots of things. I know if we didn't care about predictions being in keynotes, that there would definitely be some winners. I just don't know if those predictions happen to be in keynotes or not. So that'll be our debate for next week, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
I know one particular Jonathan's unhappy about was related to Lambda. But because they announced it pre-show, they did not announce it during the keynote.
I thought he was already doing his victory dance on that. That's funny.
No, he doesn't get a count. He doesn't get a point. It was announced on the Saturday before. So,
which is just weird that it was Saturday.
It was weird. It was like strange timing. I was like, why did this come out today? Oh, Google Cloud region has a new region coming to Turkey as part of a $2 billion investment over 10 years. It's really great timing on this, by the way. You announced your Turkey region on Turkey Day. Like,
It's very nice. Very nice.
Well done, Google. I see what you did there. And I approve.
Mhm.
The region targets 3 key verticals already committed as customers: custom financial services like Garanti BBVA, Yapı Kredi Bank, modernizing core banking systems, airlines of Turkish Airlines, improving flight operations, and the local presence addresses data residency requirements and provides low latency access for organizations that need to keep data within their national border. Technical capabilities include standard Google Cloud services for data analytics, AI, and cybersecurity with data encryption at rest and in transit, granular access controls, and threat detection systems meeting international security standards. The announcement emphasized digital sovereignty as the primary driver, with government officials highlighting the importance of local infrastructure for maintaining control over national data while accessing hyperscale cloud capabilities. No pricing details, no exact timing when this will be launched officially, but I assume probably sometime in 2027.
2 years from now.
Yeah.
I was doing that math in my head. That took me way too long. I guess
Yeah.
it's a year plus, but yeah.
Year
Yeah,
and
it's-
change. I mean, it depends on how fast. I think they
Yeah.
typically take multiple years, but yeah.
Yeah, it's typically, I mean, you assume they've already have done ground prep and they've already started probably construction before they even announce it, 3 to 4 months in advance. And then, they announce this thing, and then it's typically 18 months after that, they finally can stand up services. And then it also depends on government regulations, import taxes, all kinds of things. Like KSA took longer, I think. I don't
The
remember when
ability
they
of buying
announced it.
RAM at this point.
GPUs, all kinds of things that are factors in being able to build a data center at scale. So Google is launching BigQuery Agent Analytics, a new plugin for their agent development kit that streams AI agent interaction data directly to BigQuery with a single line of code. The plugin captures metrics like latency, token consumption, tool usage, and user interactions in real time using the BigQuery Storage Write API, enabling developers to analyze agent performance and optimize costs without complex instrumentation. The integration allows developers to leverage BigQuery's advanced capabilities, including generative AI functions, vector search, and embedding generation to perform sophisticated analysis on agent conversations. Teams can cluster similar interactions, identify failure patterns, and join agent data with business metrics like CSAT scores to measure real-world impact, going beyond basic operational metrics to quality analysis. The plugin includes 3 core components: an ADK plugin that requires minimal code changes, a predefined optimized BigQuery schema for storing interaction data and low-cost streaming via the BigQuery Storage Write API, and developers maintain full control over what data gets streamed and can customize pre-processing. Currently available in preview for ADK users with support for other agent frameworks like LangGraph coming very soon, and pricing follows standard BigQuery costs for storage and queries, with Storage Write API offering cost-effective real-time streaming compared to traditional batch loading methods.
Yeah, this is an interesting model, like for providing both the schema and the already instrumented integration. Like I feel like a lot of times with other types of development, you're sort of left to your own devices, and so like this is kind of a neat thing as you're developing agent. Everyone is sort of instrumenting these things in odd ways, and it's very difficult to sort of compile the data in a way where you get usable like queries out of it, So it's kind of an interesting concept. I like it. It does sound expensive. That's the only thing that I would worry about a little bit, is you're not in control over what you're consuming, and it's in BigQuery, which isn't cheap in terms of queries and storage. But
Yeah, who doesn't have a problem. Who cares about this stuff?
None of this sounds cheap. AI, BigQuery, analytics, you name a word in this press release that is cheap, let me know.
yeah,
Like, it's all going to be expensive, but it just depends how your business uses it.
And nothing is cheap anymore. That's the truth about this economy. Google's announcing Tele Link, a new subsea cable connecting Australia and Thailand via the Indian Ocean, taking a western route around the Sundhu Strait to avoid congestion from existing cable paths. This cable extends the Interlink system from the Australia Connect initiative and will directly connect to Google's planned Thailand cloud region and data center. The project includes 2 new connectivity hubs in Mandurah, Western Australia, and South Thailand, providing diverse landing points away from existing cable concentrations in Perth and enabling cable switching, content caching, and co-location capabilities. And Google is partnering with AIS for the South Thailand hub to leverage existing infrastructure. Tele Link forms part of a broader Indian Ocean connectivity strategy, linking with previously announced hubs in the Maldives and Christmas Islands to create redundant paths to Australia, Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. The infrastructure supports the Thailand's digital economy transformation and is moving around.
It's amazing about subsea cable congestion, that there's how many cables can be there, that there's congestion. I could get for availability reasons, but the word congestion just sounds strange to me in that one.
yeah.
It was a little strange bit of wording there.
Well, I mean, it's funny to think about. And then, I mean, I was instantly terrified. Like, oh, we've already got enough subsea cables where we've got like congestion problems. And looking at the link, like, just looking at the picture, like the route is pretty close to the last subsea cable they just announced a few months ago. So it's kind of
Well, then they said they're going to connect it to the Malaysia one, which was what that was a couple months ago, I think.
Mm-hmm. The Avaro cable, which is and they do both route through Christmas Island and then out from there. So it does make sense. Good. Very fun.
I mean, I assume that a lot of the original cables that go through Perth and that part of the world were, laid a long time at the beginning of the internet, and they just, they're only a single strand or multiple, not single strand, but a smaller amount of concurrency through them, and they're probably just, you maximize what you can do through that amount of fiber, and so now you need new ones to address congestion. Is my guess. That's the only thing I can think of what congestion could be.
I mean, from looking at submarinercablemaps.com, which is where I always go just when I completely get digressed when we have these conversations, there's a lot of freaking cables in that area of the world. Like in that area, like the diagram is pretty big.
There's not a lot of points, right? Yeah,
but like off, there's Malaysia and Thailand and all that. There's a lot of cables that all kind of go through that one little area of the world. So one dragged anchor and they're gonna have problems, which is I guess why they're trying to diversify this.
Yeah, I mean that's a risk anywhere in the world, unfortunately.
Yeah, but there looks like a ton of cables compared to like most other places have a little bit extra room.
I mean, it looks like it's probably by necessity, right? Like
well, you got to go that way through the strait.
Yeah.
That's the closest path. Otherwise, you essentially have to go around, which is what this one's doing. It's going to go probably out to the Indian Ocean and then to Christmas Island and kind of come down that way.
Well, Claude Opus 4.5 is now officially on Vertex AI.
Where's the Claude thing? Oh, there we go.
In this particular announcement, they do want to point out that Vertex AI is a unified platform for deploying Claude with enterprise features, including global endpoints for reduced latency, provision throughput for dedicated capacity at fixed costs, and prompt caching with flexible time to live up to 1 hour. The platform integrates with Google's Agent Builder stack, including the Open Agent Development Kit, Agent-to-Agent Protocol, and fully managed agent engine for moving multiple step workflows from prototype to production. And so, yeah, there you go.
Woohoo!
If you are excited to go to Las Vegas and you're disappointed that you are not sitting there right now in a reInvent session or dinner or drinking, because it is a little bit later in the evening, you can go to Vegas in April of 2026 for Google Cloud Next, which will be in April 22nd to the 24th. They moved it off my birthday weekend, which is nice and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I was enjoying going to Vegas for my birthday and then going to the conference. But that's okay. This represents the standard price subscription for Google's flagship annual conference at $999, which is the early bird pricing. And this will follow their record-breaking conference attendance in 2025. The conference will focus, of course, heavily on AI agent development and implementation, featuring interactive demos, hackathons, and workshops designed to help attendees build intelligent agents. And Next 2026 will offer hands-on technical training through deep dive sessions, keynotes, and practical labs aimed at developers and technical practitioners. And the event serves as a main networking hub for cloud practitioners who love Google.
Ryan, do you love Google? Justin, do you love Google?
I like parts of Google. Love is strong.
I think with any cloud provider, I always have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I say Amazon. I don't know that I loved either. I liked it greatly. I hate Azure, loathe entirely. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't really. I have a hate relationship with Azure. Although there's now a couple of cracks in that facade, and that I'm really starting to fall in love with some of their identity management, which is funny.
I mean, Google has always had good IAM stuff, and their Workspace's product and how they, is not great in the UI. Like they're terrible at UIs, just like Amazon is.
Mm-hmm.
But their APIs are so strong that you can kind of ignore their shitty AI or UI. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll have to take your word for it. I haven't tried it with Workspace, but Azure seems to be the first. I mean, mostly for a lot of the integration with Office 365 and Entra. Like they seem to be the first to really be leaning heavily into sort of temporary access patterns and really promoting that in a way that makes it easier to subscribe to than the other cloud providers. So you've always been able to sort of assume a temporary rule.
Only
Right.
if you pay for it.
It is also very
With P2
expensive.
licenses, at like what, $8 or $10 a person,
Yeah.
it adds up real fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but it is something you get to reuse across Azure and Office 365. So yeah, it is sort of that.
But this is what I hate about it is you have to pay for security. It's not built in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true.
Why do I have to pay 10x for front door in order to be able to hit a private endpoint or to have a WAF on it just because you don't lug security? I don't know.
Yeah, because it's expensive to provide, I'm guessing. Or because it's security teams, and they're always tool happy and willing to pay it on one of those two.
Yep.
Right. VPC flow logs now support cloud VPN tunnels and VLAN attachments for cloud interconnect and cross-cloud interconnects, extending visibility beyond traditional VPC subnet traffics to hybrid and multi-cloud connections. This addresses a critical gap for organizations running cross-cloud network architectures who previously lacked detailed telemetry on traffic flowing between Google Cloud, on-premise infrastructure, and other cloud providers. The feature provides 5-tuple granularity logging, which means source, destination, IP, port, and protocol, with new gateway annotations that identify traffic direction and context to reporter and gateway object fields. And the flow analyzer integration eliminates the need for complex SQL queries, offering built-in analysis capabilities, including Gemini-powered natural language queries and in-context connectivity tests. Primary use cases include identifying elephant flows that can adjust to specific tunnels or attachments, auditing shared VPC bandwidth consumption by service projects, and troubleshooting connectivity issues by verifying whether traffic reaches Google Cloud Gateway at all. The feature is available now for both new and existing deployments through Console, CLI, API, and Terraform, with Flow Analyzer providing no-cost analysis of logs stored in cloud logging. And this capability is particularly relevant for financial services, healthcare, and enterprises with strict compliance requirements who need comprehensive audit trails of cross-cloud and hybrid networking traffic.
Interesting. Yeah, because it is like the controls say that you have to have logging, not what the logging is. And so very frequently it is sort of turn it on and sort of forget it. But I do think this is great, but it is sort of like they say the 5-tuple granularity will help you measure congestion, but I don't see them actually producing any sort of bandwidth or request size metrics. So it is sort of an interesting thing, but it's at least better than the nothing that we had before. So I'll take it.
Kind of amazing that they didn't have some of this there already and how enterprises were okay with that. But I guarantee you every security and compliance team is telling their cloud team, hey, this is released. We need to enable this right now, which is, I'm sure is, Orion saying to his company.
No, I'm not, because it's like I said, like I'm all for having visibility and being able to do forensic analysis on things, but I am not into the business of just maintaining
Logs,
all the logs everywhere since the beginning of time. And
that's because you've dealt with the other side of ingesting those logs.
Yeah, because I didn't always start with security. Yeah, exactly. And even now, like much more involved in like providing ETL pipelines and management and tiering of this data versus just sort of storing it and incurring costs, because it just ends up being a ton of data that doesn't really end up being all that usable. And so like I think that's why big corporations and organizations have been okay without it, because you can sort of stitch together what you need by looking at both ends of the tunnel, not the tunnel itself. But we'll see. I think there's definitely areas where this is going to be useful and nice.
There are a lot of cloud cost management tools out there, but only Archera provides cloud commitment insurance. It sounds fancy, but it's really simple. Archera gives you the cost savings of a 1 or 3 year AWS savings plan with a commitment as short as 30 days. If you don't use all the cloud resources you've committed to, they will literally put the money back in your bank account to cover the difference. Other cost management tools may say they offer commitment insurance, but remember to ask, will you actually give me my money back? Archera will. Click the link in the show notes to check them out on the AWS Marketplace.
Google decided that they wanted to help out with some Amazon reInvent previews because they announced this last week. But AWS and Google Cloud are jointly engineered a multi-cloud networking solution that eliminates the need for manual physical infrastructure setup between their platforms, Customers can now provision dedicated bandwidth and establish connectivity in minutes instead of weeks through either Cloud Console or the API. The solution uses AWS Interconnect multi-cloud and Google Cloud cross-cloud interconnect with quad redundancy across physically separate facilities and MACsec encryption between edge routers. Both providers published open API specifications on GitHub for other cloud providers to adopt the same standard. And previously connecting AWS to Google Cloud required customers to manually coordinate physical connections, equipment, and multiple teams over weeks or months. This new managed service abstracts away physical connectivity, network addressing, and routing policy complexity into a cloud-native experience. Salesforce is using this capability to connect their Data 360 platform across clouds using pre-built capacity pools and familiar AWS tooling. Collaboration presents a shift towards cloud provider interoperability through open standards rather than proprietary solutions. And I do want you guys to check the weather. Do you see pigs flying or anything crazy?
No, but it seems awfully cold in hell, so I'm surprised. Yeah. It is. I mean, it's great because this is definitely a pain point that I've had to endure before. Trying to get cross-cloud connectivity has never been fun.
No, and all the circuit connectivity and stuff is a nightmare to get set up, and the vendors, and connecting to Equinix and all those things, and the big thing was that's why Equinix is sort of selling the cloud exchange, because the reality is they were hosting both sides anyway, so they could just cross connect them, and now you don't even have to deal with that. It's just abstracted away from you, which is kind of nice. So,
it's super nice, and that's it's definitely a huge advancement.
Yeah, the other thing I've had to help people do is set up. There's like providers that essentially let you get like a direct connect, like 5 megabit or 10 megabit direct connect to their MPLS network, which then connected to all of them. Which again, it's just a level of complexity that wasn't needed. So it's exciting to see that this is actually coming out there, and hopefully clouds play a little bit nicer together, but watch your egress costs still. It's still not cheap.
Okay. Totally. Yeah, that doesn't change.
Doesn't change.
They've made it easier to provision the faucet, but you're still going to pay through the nose for everything goes through it.
Indeed. All right, moving on to Azure. Azure Application Gateway is now supporting TLS and TCP protocol termination at general availability, expanding it beyond its traditional HTTP and HTTPS load balancing capabilities. This allows customers to use Application Gateway for non-web workloads like database connections, message queuing systems, and other TCP-based applications that previously required separate load balancing solutions. Thank you for developing network load balancers. It's only how many years late on this one?
They had a different solution. It just wasn't nearly as good.
I mean, it sort of bothers me that they just shove this into the application gateway. I'm like, why didn't you rebrand or do anything else?
Because they already have Azure load balancers and something else, and they rather just confuse people.
Or just call it network load balancer like everybody else. I don't know.
Well, Amazon had classic load balancers. They moved away from that. You could follow that model too.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, those were technically ELBs originally. Then you had ALBs, and then they're like, whoa, and even like the Terraform's like, wait, we actually called this thing an ALB. Then they just went to LBs with a type inside of it. So
yeah, because they were like, this is dumb. We have the same thing for basically the same. Yeah, it's like, okay, we gotcha. But, oh well.
See Amazon the way to do 6 ways to do everything.
Yeah. And if you weren't excited about the fact that you can now terminate your TLS and TCP termination there, you can also make your life even harder by supporting mutual TLS pass-through via the Azure Application Gateway, allowing your backend applications to validate client certificates and authorization headers directly while still benefiting from web application firewall inspection. This addresses a specific compliance requirement where organizations need to end-to-end certificate validation but cannot terminate TLS at the gateway layer. The feature enables scenarios where backend services must verify client identity through certificates for regulatory compliance or zero trust architectures, particularly relevant for financial services, healthcare, and government workloads. So I was doing something with Claude and I was architecting an idea I had, and it was making suggestions. And then it said, well, to do this connection, we probably will need mutual TLS. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. What else you got for me? And he's like, well, you could implement Tailscale. I'm like, yes, we're doing that.
That is pretty funny.
While I totally get MTLS and how useful it is always a pain to manage.
It is a pain to manage for sure. I mean, it works when you get it working, but getting it working is stressful and very complicated.
I remember the days of S-Tunnel and having to set that up for everything. It didn't support native encryption. Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
And it was like I only barely half understood the encryption and how it worked, and so I was just, that was the best of bad options.
And like we were waiting for Amazon to support MacSec. They were like, we're gonna support MacSec. We're like, come on, do it. We want to stop with this dumb S tunnels. And then like 17 years later, they finally announced MacSec support.
They finally
do
it. Yeah.
Like, you told us that was gonna be out like 5 years ago, and we cared. Now we don't care. We've already done all the pain. So
I did S tunnel and MongoDB because it didn't support encryption for the longest time.
Yep, I remember that.
That was a fun one. That was like, I don't want to do that math in my head of how many years ago, but like 15 years ago. That was fun. Getting that disaster working.
Mm-hmm. In public preview, Azure API Management's adding support for agent-to-agent APIs. Okay, so wait. You just supported MTLS and TLS and TCP on a load balancer, but you're already like, no, we're going to support A2A right away. Come on. Like,
But that's a different service. It's on the API.
It's two different worlds at Azure. It's we're in 1995, and we're in the cutting edge 2026 of AI agent to agent. There's nothing in between.
So APIMs, if you want to use a single one, not an HA, will also cost you $2,700 for one.
Oh, good.
Not an HA. So if you want two in the same region, you're already at 58. Math quickly in my head, 5,400. Then if you want to have multi-zonal support, you just might as well kiss your bill. Goodbye.
I'm just gonna take the outage at this point. Like
yeah, it's probably gonna be better for all of us.
It's just gonna self-heal in like 5 minutes, probably. Fine.
At least hopefully.
If you're on V2, V1 did not self-heal that quickly.
No.
All right.
Don't ask me. Ask me after the show how I know.
Right.
Yeah. See that scar on his back? That's where the knife went in. Yeah.
Yeah. That will require drinks.
Well, if you're looking for something to talk to your agent to agent.
Oh, and how?
I have Claude Opus 4.5 available to you in Microsoft Foundry, GitHub Copilot paid plans, and Microsoft Copilot Studio, expanding Azure's frontier model portfolio following the Microsoft Anthropic partnership announced at Ignite. The model achieves 80.9% on the SWE benchmark, software engineering benchmark, and is priced at 1/3 the cost of previous Opus class models, making advanced AI capabilities more accessible for enterprise customers. Cool, it's in Foundry. Thanks.
Hooray! I'm just happy to have any Claude still.
I wonder if they're going to move Copilot to Claude. That's like I need to ask.
So you've been able to use?
Yes, but it's going to AWS.
AWS, and in the documentation it says that. So I assume when they get that, what was it, Iowa or
whatever that new data AI.
Yeah, that maybe at that point they will.
I might ask my GitHub rep, like, hey, when is this coming? I haven't really pointed it out to Ryan too much because I didn't want him to start asking questions. They're like, well, how do they secure that data from Copilot from Azure to, like, I didn't want to get into it with him, but now he knows, so I have to keep moving.
We've got a license agreement with someone else's, and it's their job. So,
I mean,
not my problem. That's what I just.
Do you have to audit that they're actually doing something? Because, like, do you trust Microsoft's actually doing that? Like, I mean, I want to think
all
so.
I have to do is point to their attestation. It is absolutely true. It's once I have a business agreement, I only have to secure the stuff that's in my responsibility boundary. The whole point of using a managed service is so that I can trust someone else to manage part of it. They're going to do a better job than I am, most likely.
I mean, back in the day, we had, we had tested to Safe Harbor, and that was going to solve all the problems. And then it was thrown out in court. So, wait till that attestation's thrown out.
Oh, don't burst my bubble.
Just saying, you're relying on a legal construct, and you're married to a lawyer. You should know better. So
well, that's part of why I have the opinion I do. Is you realize very quick how little it matters. What's this business agreement?
Yeah. Well, something that is everyone's love is Azure DNS, and now security policies now include a managed threat intelligence feed that blocks queries to known malicious domains. Thank God. This feature addresses the common attack vector where nearly all cyber attacks begin with a DNS query, providing an additional layer of protection at the DNS resolution level. The service integrates with Azure's existing DNS infrastructure and uses Microsoft's threat intelligence data to automatically update the list of malicious domains. Organizations can enable this protection without managing their own threat feeds or maintaining block lists, reducing operational overhead for the security team. This capability is particularly relevant for enterprises looking to implement defense and depth strategies, as it stops threats before they can even establish connections to command and control servers or phishing sites. Unless it's a zero-day attack, then you might be host. The feature works alongside existing Azure firewall and network security tools to provide comprehensive protection. General availability means the service is now production ready with full SLA support across Azure regions, and pricing details, though, were not specified in the announcement. So, expensive?
Oh, almost certainly, right? But it is something like being able to automatically take the results of a feed. I will do any day, just because these things they're updated by many more parties and faster than I can ever react to, and our own threat intelligence. So it's pretty great. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great feature. Integrates with the firewall, so it's a good next step in a lot of their DNS and security world of it. I mean, their DNS product, at least from what I've seen for what we use in my day job, is pretty solid. So hopefully this is just at the next level on top of it, and they're building on those same building blocks.
Yeah. But again, is this one of those things that you have to pay for? So, and I mean, typically, if it's a managed sort of service where they're blocking it, you have to, but I wonder if there's anything built in.
It's on my list to research more about for my day job. I just haven't had time yet, to be honest with you.
Well, they just launched it, so that's fair.
Yeah, but I like to play with new shiny objects.
All right. Yeah.
Who doesn't love new shiny objects? It's great. Azure is introducing another V2 product. I love these. The standard V2 NAT gateway in public preview, adding zone redundancy for high availability in regions with availability zones. This upgrade addresses a key limitation of the original NAT gateway by ensuring outbound connectivity survives zone failures, which matters for enterprises running mission-critical workloads that require consistent internet egress. The standard V2 SKU includes matching standard V2 public IPs that work together with the new NAT gateway tier. Organizations using the original standard SKU will need to evaluate migration paths, and since zone redundancy represents a fundamental architecture change, requiring new resource types rather than in-place upgrades. This release targets customers who previously had to architect complex workarounds for zone-resilient outbound connectivity, particularly those running multi-zone deployments of containerized applications or database clusters. The preview allows testing of failover scenarios before production deployment. The announcement lacks specific pricing details for both the standard V2 tier, though NAT Gateway typically charges based on hourly resource fees plus data processing costs, and I assume this will as well. The fact that this is just not an upgrade that I can check and I have to redeploy a whole new thing annoys the crap out of me.
It does, from Microsoft's perspective, it does make sense because IP addresses are not zonally redundant by default, which also confuses me. So IP addresses have to be a different zone. So like from the way they've architected it, but the fact that NAT gateways were not already multi-zone still baffles my mind, along with the fact that they've had to like re-architect this whole thing. I mean, there's other improvements because it's multi-zone, you get more speed and connections and everything else associated with it. But it all just feels like this should have been built into a NAT gateway solution in V1, like out the door, not V2. And the fact that
is it not multi-zonal in the sense that it's abstracted away, or you literally have to you have to deploy a NAT gateway in every single AZ?
You had to deploy a NAT gateway in every single AZ, and it's not as easy as it is in AWS to do that.
Oh man, oof, that's a bummer.
Because a NAT gateway can also have multiple IP addresses, unlike AWS. So if you have, you want to have enough traffic, it's not fun from an architectural perspective.
So you can scale horizontally within a region by default, but not across region? Or sorry, AZs?
I believe so.
You can't scale horizontally, but you can scale vertically. Yeah, that's basically.
But like, given the fact that they moved their, everything was equivalent to a public subnet before, you had to have been dealing with this for the last few months. So they pretty much got everybody on this thing and then said, oh, wait, and here's this thing that fixes all your problems that forced you to have private subnets and everything else recently. So it really feels like they should have done this one differently, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, my other issue with the naming of this whole thing is why can't it just be NATs with multi AZ support versus not, and be a checkbox. And yeah, it maybe requires redeployment or whatever. Fine in the background. I don't, that's all noise to me. How many people know their NAT gateway outbound IP addresses unless they have IP restrictions? Most probably don't. But the bigger problem is just like when you have an outage because you weren't using the Ultra Disk, now you can be blamed for not using the V2 version of the NAT, because of course V2 is better than V1. And so that's just more fun. You get to explain to your boss when things go wrong. That's
Well,
what
it's
annoys
one
me.
more number, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then there's migrations you have to do. So like APIMS, if we were talking about above, is APIMS v2, which is completely different from APIM v1. And even the architecture on the Azure side on the back end is completely different between them, but it's just a v2.
Yes, just a V2. No,
Again, ask me how I know.
the other cigar on his back. Well, if you're using Azure App Service, you can now hide those pesky 500 errors with a beautifully branded one, because now it supports custom error pages, moving to general availability, allowing developers to replace default HTTP error pages with branded or customized alternatives. This addresses a common requirement for production applications where maintaining consistent user experience during errors is important for brand identity and the user's trust. The feature integrates directly into app service configuration without requiring additional Azure services or third-party tools. Developers can specify custom HTML pages for different HTTP error codes like 404 or 500, which app service will serve automatically from those errors when those errors occur. The capability is particularly relevant for customer-facing web applications, e-commerce sites, and SaaS platforms where error handling needs to align with corporate branding guidelines, and the feature works across all app service tiers to support custom domains and SSL certificates. No additional costs associated with custom error pages beyond standard app service hosting fees, which start approximately $13 per month for the basic tier, which you will earn out of very quickly and need the more expensive one. The general availability status means the feature is now production ready with full support coverage, moving beyond the preview phase where it was available for testing. The documentation is available to you in the custom app service custom error page guide.
I used to not care about these features until I became the owner of the WAF service in the company, and now I'm all about this. Don't blame me. It's the app.
For a app service, I've dealt with this at my day job. Like it's crazy that this wasn't already there. And like the workarounds you have to do to make your own error pages and stuff like that was messy at best.
If an option at all, right? Like, so many times it was just you had to deal with whatever, public error page, generic.
Well, then, from a security perspective, you're leaking, your more of your infrastructure, what it's running on, so, you're just giving people more information, which isn't always, wanted.
Microsoft Foundry is reaching general availability as an enterprise AI governance platform that consolidates security, compliance, and cost management controls for IT administrators deploying AI solutions. The platform addresses the growing need for centralized oversight as organizations scale their AI initiatives across Azure infrastructure. The service integrates with existing Azure management tools to provide unified visibility and control over your AI workload, allowing IT teams to enforce policies and monitor resource usage from a single interface. This reduces the operational overhead of managing disparate AI projects while maintaining enterprise security standards. Foundry targets large enterprises and regulated industries that require strict governance frameworks for AI development, particularly organizations balancing innovation speed with compliance requirements. The platform helps bridge the gap between data science teams pushing for rapid AI adoption and IT departments responsible for risk. The general availability announcement indicates Microsoft's positioning Azure as the enterprise-ready AI cloud to compete directly with AWS and Google Cloud for organizations prioritize governance alongside their AI capabilities, which makes sense. But again,
I feel like everyone's saying
it seems
that,
a little bit overloaded on top of Foundry, isn't it?
Everything's overloaded on top of Foundry, right? Like it's anything data related, right? Just throw it in a Foundry.
Foundry is just their version of Vertex and SageMaker. That's what I just need to think in my brain with a really, really nice Power BI module on top of it.
Is it though? Oh, okay. I mean, that's because I still don't understand Foundry.
It's like a combination of SageMaker and Vertex married Databricks and had a baby.
Yeah,
that's what Foundry is. Plus has a report interface. Like that's really what it is. I mean, it's there.
I guess that's the confusing part for me was the Power BI sort of integration on these things, which is sort of like the.
I mean, if you think about it, Google sort of has the same thing with Looker, and Amazon has their thing that no one uses. So they sort of have the same stories. QuickSight, yeah.
QuickSight.
So they all three kind of have that same story. It's just one of them is good, and the other two are good-ish. Well, one's good.
I guess
two of them are good. Two of them are good,
yeah.
and one is a half-ass interpretation of Tableau, I guess. I don't know.
I'm still trying to figure out if they bought, did AWS buy QuickSight for somebody else back originally? Because it's still a whole other interface.
Definitely feels
and
that
logins. Way. It really feels like Macy V1 and all the other tools they just kind of bought. And I feel like I've looked this up multiple
decades.
times.
They haven't
Yeah, and
changed
you're
it.
like, can you fix your shit?
I think they were trying to pull, like, because there's definitely the concept of being able to generate reports and show data for people that may not have sort of an Amazon cloud principal ID. Like, it sort of made sense to me, and they sort of followed the same path with like the builder space and some of the CodeStar and CodeGuru sort of things that they did, but it just confused everything to me. Like,
Yes, QuickSight was an acquisition of some small company that was trying to get into the space that they picked up probably for pennies, and then didn't invest in, clearly. So
clearly, yeah.
Well, they
Well,
just
if
never
I-
fully integrated it into their ecosystem.
which is not uncommon for things that people don't adopt. So
Yeah.
I had high hopes for it. And so then, especially when they hired the old CEO from Tableau, I was like, oh, maybe he's really like, this thing needs to get way better. And I'm gonna bring some people from Tableau I know that can make this better. But no, that didn't happen. So
no.
I guess Washington does have non-compete, so hey, that's why. Well, if you weren't excited about governance, risk, and compliance in Foundry, let me tell you, I got something else for you for Foundry, and that is a model router, which is now generally available as an AI orchestration layer that automatically selects the optimal language model for each prompt based on factors like complexity, cost, and performance requirements. This eliminates the need for developers to manually choose between different AI models for each of their use cases. The service supports an expanded range of models, including the GPT-4 family, GPT-5 family, GPT-OSS, and DeepSeek models, giving organizations flexibility to balance performance needed against their cost considerations. This addresses a practical challenge for enterprises deploying multiple AI models where the different tasks require different model capabilities. For example, simple queries could route to smaller, less expensive models, while complex reasoning tasks automatically use the more capable models. The orchestration layer integrates with Microsoft Foundry's broader AI infrastructure, allowing customers to manage multiple model deployments through a single interface rather than building custom routing logic to each of the models. No significant pricing details are provided in the announcement, though costs will likely vary based on underlying model selected by the router and the usage patterns in your system. And this is a great area to also get caching. So I assume that'll come some point, maybe in 2075, if it's following the NAT Gateway v2 path, or it'll be
Model router
V2.
V2.
It'll be released next week. One of the two. It can only be one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to using this just because, like we've talked about here, multiple times, using the right model at the right time and letting it kind of decide, and or, it's not called out in here, but I can definitely see it being used for like availability of the model, because I've definitely run into times in Azure where I can't get the tokens, even though I'm like, here's my money, take my money, please take my money. And they're like, no, we don't have capacity. So here it's like, okay, well, you don't have this one, this next one's good enough. So if you can shove the shim layer in and let it be the routing tool for you, hopefully life becomes better and I don't have to think about a lot of these things, and they can kind of handle it.
Azure is getting scheduled tasks, or as they call them, scheduled actions, a feature which is now generally available, providing automated VM lifecycle management at scale with built-in handling of subscription throttling and transient error retries. This eliminates the need for custom scripting or third-party tools to start, stop, and deallocate VMs on a recurring schedule. And all I can see is a Windows box inside the Microsoft Azure environment running scheduled tasks. That's all I can see. The feature addresses common cost optimization scenarios where organizations need to automatically shut down development and test environments during off hours or scale down non-production workloads on the weekend. This can reduce compute costs by 40 to 70% for environments that don't require 24/7 availability. I mean, I really appreciate that they got this. Again, thank you for copying every other cloud that's had this forever. And none of the clouds, though, have the feature I really want, which is the, hey, I just knock on the door of these services that are offline, and please hold a second while I start them up because you made a request. And how long would you like to use those services? Which would be amazing. And no one's built that. And I keep thinking someone will, but no one has.
Yeah, it's still, like I've done similar things with like complex pipelines and, like where you do a whole bunch of things, but you always have to build it all yourself, the spaghetti of it. And then you end up with this like crazy cold start issue where people are mad because they don't know that it's turned off. But it is sort of like, it is funny to me that they're just releasing this in Azure, because I just assumed that this has always been in place. But I guess not.
I assume a lot of things are in place, and then I go look for them, and they don't exist. Yeah. So I've learned to stop assuming that with Azure, and this is one of them.
Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, I've always had to manage the orchestration like timing else outside. Like I don't know. I can't think of actually being able to set.
AWS definitely add this feature. AWS definitely had this feature a couple years ago. I mean, it has to be at least 5 years ago at this point. It just feels like, this is if you're running your corporate or dev environment or stuff like that, or you've lifted and shifted and you still want to be able to turn on and off stuff for cost savings. Because this isn't then at that point leveraging scale sets, auto scaling groups, whatever you want to call them, or leveraging any other automated scaling thing. This is, hey, I have 15 dev boxes and I want to turn them off on the weekend when our developers aren't working, or I manually have to configure these Windows boxes or this Linux box to do this thing because we haven't automated it. Cool, let me turn it off when we're not using it. I'm not saying there's not good use cases for it. Install Shield, any, is one that comes to mind, or any other tool that is MAC address based licensing. So there's definitely reasons for it. And I've definitely written enough custom code to do this in my career, probably multiple times at this point. So it's a useful feature. It's just still like one of those, why wasn't this there a while ago? That's the theme of Azure this week.
I mean, scheduled tasks was hard to scale at this level. So, or maybe they finally discovered cron tab and cron. I don't know. One of the two. Well, that is another fantastic week here in the cloud, minus AWS. So I guess we will wrap it up here. We do have an after show today. So for those of you who like to hear us talk about silly things, stick around after the close to hear us talk about those. But have a great week, and we'll see you next week to do the Amazon extravaganza.
Woo! Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
And that's all for this week in cloud. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Archera. Be sure to click the link in our show notes to learn more about their services. While you're at it, head over to our website at thecloudpod.net, where you can subscribe to our newsletter, join our Slack community, send us your feedback, and ask any questions you might have. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
We have an after show, and to talk about how AI is infecting the world. The most recent example of that is that NORAD, the people who handle missiles and defense of the country, but also have always had a cute little annual tradition of tracking Santa Claus as he crosses the world delivering presents to billions of children across the world, has decided to partner with OpenAI. Basically, they're partnering with NORAD to add AI-powered holiday tools to the annual Santa tracking tradition, creating 3 ChatGPT-based features that turn kids' photos into elf portraits, generate custom toy coloring pages, and build personalized Christmas stories. This represents a consumer-friendly application of generative AI that demonstrates how large language models can be packaged for mainstream family use during the holidays. The collaboration shows OpenAI pursuing brand-building partnerships with trusted institutions like NORAD to normalize AI tools in everyday contexts. From a technical perspective, these tools showcase practical implications of image generation, yada, yada, yada. And overall, I'm like, keep your AI away from my Santa Claus. That's what I want to say.
I will say, I've never thought about using one of the AI image generation models to do like sketches for my kids to draw on.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah, that's a good
I've
use
never
case,
thought
actually.
about that one. I mean, I use it for stories with them and, lots of other fun things with them, but never that. That's a pretty good, interesting use case I've never thought of was, because my daughter's into coloring a lot right now, and that would be very interesting to do. So that will be my weekend activity. And there goes my printer.
We can't hear it, so it's fine.
No, I meant like.
Well, he's just gonna.
Oh.
He's not gonna be able to afford ink.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're also assuming your printer's going to work because when was the last time you used it?
My wife probably did for our return.
Yeah, that's the number one use of my printer right now is return labels too. So weird.
Yeah.
In the holiday season, we sent cards and we just print them, but that's about it. Yeah, gets used about 4 times a year. The printer's probably like 7-8 years old at this point. It still just works because I'm probably still on the first ink cartridge.
Well, that's impressive because those things are not even full. Typically,
Right.
That's true.
You get like one print out of those these days.
Yeah, and then it's like you need more ink. It's like, and then it's always you need this weird color, but I'm printing black and white. You say I have plenty of ink. Sorry, you need the
No,
blue.
my printer's just the black and white laser, And
I have
anything
a-
else, we just
I did upgrade to a color laser printer. So, and then I bought fuser or toner for it one time, and I probably will never buy toner for it ever again in my lifetime, because it has like 45,000 page cycle count on the toner cartridges. I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So
Yeah,
but
marry a lawyer. That you can go through that pretty quick.
yeah, I don't have that problem. I go through inkjet ink like it's going out of style for photos. When Brandy needs to print out photos, for something. Although we normally print them out Kinko's or Kinko's. What? I guess it's not Kinko's.
does
anymore.
Kinko
It's
still
FedEx.
exist?
It's part of FedEx office. But whatever.
Oh,
We
yeah.
just go there and print out there because it's
That's what we
typically
do.
cheaper, faster at this point. But I do sometimes have to print something out here when necessary. So it's all good. Yeah. So, anyways, AI needs to leave my Santa Claus alone. That's my opinion. Although I'll send you my elf photos.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna make elf photos. I'm gonna abuse my older children who are not gonna find this fun at all and make them do photos.
Well, maybe before closer to Christmas, we can share our elf photos and drawing pages that you've made. So
I like it.
You make your kid. You can all make all your kids. Draw a color the CloudPod logo.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun. All right.
It could be fun. See if they're suitable for public.
I can't
consumption.
even log into my printer's web interface.
Well, you're starting out strong.
I was curious.
I don't even know what the IP address of my printer is. I just know that it shows up in the printer thing, and I probably need to update it. But
Yeah.
I just logged into my Unify in order to get my IP address on my printer to figure all this out. I went down that hole.
Unify will do static IPs and host names, right? Yeah.
That would require me to actually know what the host name I would have set was. Again, don't use the printer that often.
Yeah. Mine's called printer. Dot local.
And this is why we have V2 Ryans, because when your printer dies, it's going to be printer V2.local. This is how Azure names stuff. Got it. Azure and Ryan have the same naming convention.
Yeah. It's true.
Well, I'm sure our listeners love hearing you guys talk about your printers. We're gonna let them go now.
This is fantastic content. You're right.
Yeah. All right.
It
See you
is
guys
the
next
after
week.
show.
It is the after show. That's true.
Bye, everyone.